Hey, what's up, everybody? And welcome back to the channel today for another review. Nadia and I are here to give you our review of the new film from the world of John Wick, Ballerina, coming to theaters June 6th. We both had the opportunity to check this film out early. Also had opportunities to speak to some of the cast members. Also had an opportunity to see some of the footage back in, what month was it? April?
And
It's
also in
CinemaCon.
2024.
That's right. That's right. So I think it's safe to say we had a lot of preparation in terms of coming to the film to see the full flesh final product of the film. But ultimately, I think it's safe to say that we're both pretty much John Wick fans, with this being the fifth of the franchise. Also, they had the Continental series that was on Peacock. So with this one now being its sort of official first, their official first spin-off cinematically, I think it had a lot on its shoulders, and we're here to tell you our thoughts about it. If we liked it, we didn't like it, the things we liked, the things we didn't like, all that good stuff. But before we get into that, obviously, we got to talk about what this film is. So without further ado,
Ballerina takes place between the events of John Wick Chapter 3, Parabellum, and Chapter 4. We see Ana de Armas, who is Eve Macarro. She's a ballerina assassin who begins to train in the assassin traditions of the Ruska Roma, and she sets out to exact revenge for her father's death. So, of course, it's Lionsgate. It's also presented by Thunder Road Films, 8711 production, who we love. They do a lot of stunt movies, and it's in theaters June 6th, as you mentioned. So this one's directed by Len Weissman and written by Shay Hatton. And, of course, we have on a producer who is the director of the Wick films, Chad Stileski, who had to step in and make this movie fit into the universe. And it stars Ana de Armas, Angelica Huston, Gabriel Byrne, Lance Reddick in his last role, Catalina Sandino, Moreno, Norman Reedus, Ian McShane, and of course Keanu Reeves makes a special appearance.
yeah, more than a special appearance. I'm just gonna get that out the way, because and this is gonna be spoiler free, but I got to get it out the way, as this is a spinoff, and most times the spinoffs, which are done good, there is a firm connection to the greater universe. You don't even have to question where does it fit, how does it make sense, and essentially you have to have key characters be involved, and without a doubt, up and down the board, key characters from the originals John Wick series are here, including Mr. Wick himself. So yes, he's not just a cameo, he actually has a significant part in this film. And I mean, who doesn't? I mean, his name is in the film, so like, if you're gonna have John Wick up there, John Wick better be doing something, and John Wick does some things. So you don't have to worry about this riding strictly on the coats of a new character, and Anna, who does a fantastic job. Let's not get it wrong. But Keanu not only is in this film, and he's not only sharing scenes, he also has independent scenes. So there's a particular portion of this film that is straight out of another John Wick film, I say, because it's him doing what he does best. And everybody knows when you talk about the top of the totem pole, is him, and he makes it very clear that he is that guy. I mean, Keanu never disappoints, no matter in what capacity he's used. The one thing I want to say is he's one of my favorite actors, and honestly, I enjoyed his time in this franchise, and he's right up the way from Baltimore, Maryland. Lance, man, I was really sad, like his untimely death, and I'm glad that he was able to be a part of this film, because his character has always provided so much to the aesthetic of John Wick. When you get to the concierge desk, this is that subtle face that you have to be greeted with, and knowing that, you know what I mean, like you know what these characters mean, what this character mean, and the other characters that you'll see that sort of mirror his role that time. He sets the tone, and I think, even if he wasn't in this film, I think they would have paid proper homage to him. And even with him in the film, I also think they paid proper homage to like what the character means and what Lance have meant to this franchise. So it was really good for him to have many moments in this film, and for him to be a part of what I feel should be a successful film. I think it's a lot of fun. I think there's, minor things that you can nitpick, but overall, I think if you love John Wick and it's going to have some of the best wall-to-wall action, characters you can invest in, it's humor moments, the John Wick tropes, and all that other good stuff, the scenery that they use, how they shoot certain action films, the color grading, the neon lights, all that good stuff. You get that in this film, and it's good that the cast of folks that have gotten us to this point of being a fifth film was all able to be a part of it, and it's only right that their first spinoff that Lance and the crew was able to fully be a part of it and really bring the essence of what John Wick is. So, rest in peace, Lance Ritter. I'm always going to be loud about him. He's an untimely death and such a top tier actor that I wish we had a little bit more time with.
Yeah, as a huge John Wick fanatic, I definitely had my reservations about Ballerina. I will say it was absolutely a solid origin story, and it was exciting, vengeful origin story for Eve Macarro, and it was interesting enough for her character to hold her own within this franchise, and it was super action packed, and I think it fits nicely into the world of Wick. It surprised me a little more than I thought. I think basically how I described it was that it expands the world of John Wick with absolutely stunning backdrops. As you mentioned, the color grading was beautiful. I think the fact that this was shot on location made it super beautiful. The sights were incredible. You were oh my God, I want to go to this place. And it was super exciting. The sequences were great. Definitely relied on a lot of creative choices. I will say that's one thing that I thought worked for me with the film, because being a female, and she's tiny, fighting a lot of people, she has to be resourceful for it to make sense in terms of fighting this many people. So I will say that worked. There were things that didn't work in terms of her fighting being believable for me, which I'll get into later. But I think the quick-witted resourcefulness is what made this movie really work, because the heavy arsenal of so many creative weapons, like the ice skate to the face, and all these adrenaline-filled action sequences, a lot of gunplay. There were swords. So I think the explosive action really is what made this movie work.
Yeah, swords, ice skates, flamethrowers, tons of grenades, and a lot of kitchen plates. They used it all. And also, really, as you're talking about, I should mention a couple of my favorite scenes. I love the TV remote scene, which you'll see. The flamethrower thing, everybody's going to be talking about that. The ice skate weaponry, the sequence was damn good. The grenades and how they were used, and the wreckage that was left behind them was really good. One of my favorite actors, Norman Reedus, joins the franchise, and why I wish we had more time with this character. And that's not to say his fate. It's just to say that I like Norman so much. To see him be a part of this franchise and this character who, honestly, it feels like it just truly is him. A character who has a lot of heart, who's always going to look out for the kids. If it's not Judith, it's his girl here. He's going to look out for the kids. And to see him do that, to see him really get handsy, he carries this shotgun, but his fight choreography, which is not something you really get to see in The Walking Dead. So to really start to see how good of an actor he is, and putting him on a bigger stage. I wish we could have had a little bit more of him. Maybe it's just the fandom. Not saying there's nothing wrong with the character, but maybe just the fandom's man, I would have signed up for a whole hour and 30 minutes of just Norman's character here. So yeah, that. I mean, Ian, Ian, I'm sorry, I got to be a little bit biased here with this one. I think Ian, across the board, has had the best script of any John Wick character. They literally let him get the funniest lines, the most. I mean, his Winston is truly one of the best characters. But you got to come correct when you're talking to Winston, because he's going to have a clap back. He has snarky sarcasm, his wit. And even in this, as a character that's sort of supporting this new origin story, this new spinoff, he makes every scene he in granular. And I think across the board, he just continues to have the best script in all of the characters. And yes, that's above Keanu. Winston is literally, it's like one of those ones where you see him on the screen, grab your popcorn and get ready because you know he's going to give you something here. And then I have to also say my girl, because I am such a fan of the series from or MGM Plus. Adding Catalina to this, Marino. So she plays Tabitha in From, and if you watch From, you know. But From is sort of like The Walking Dead in a way, but it is really about the survival of these folks. And when she plays a mother, and as a mother who's just really in the care of her family and has so much heart, to see her be a total badass who's kind of running this mob in this, and she's wearing this all black coat, kind of looking like, Neo out of the Matrix a little bit, and she's kind of calling the shots in the arc with this character. I love what they gave her, and so much respect in terms of seeing her really flourish in her acting and being able to play multi-dimensional roles. So this is the first time she had done anything weapons related, and I thought she was badass. She definitely had some great moments. But I'm gonna give it to you because I know there's a few folks you want to talk about in the cast as well too. But that's just a couple I wanted to knock out in terms of Norman, Ian, and Catalina.
So I like with this being like an origin story, we see a closer look at the assassin traditions of the Ruska Roma. So the movie's going to bring together a lot of familiar faces, also new characters, but of course we're going to see other iconic actors like the director Angelica Huston, who's leader of the Ruska Roma, and we're going to see a lot more of like the fearsome like training ground of the ballet school. So I love seeing that explored. Like we really got to see even them doing the ballet. Like that's one thing I will say that I think Anna did a good job with showing the pain of the like get up, like your toes are freaking bleeding. Like I mean ballerinas do that in real life, but to this extent in terms of like being an assassin, it's probably going to be 10,000 times worse. So being able to survive in that environment as a dancer, being able to survive in that environment as a fighter and like holding your own. And there was even, I don't want to like give it away, but there was even an intense scene of like her testing and like getting to the next level and like what they have to be able to do and putting together like the guns quickly and facing these challenges to prove yourself as a ballerina. I thought that was done pretty well. I really liked seeing that side of the Ruska Roma. I will say, I wish we got to see a little bit more of Shannon's character. I feel like she could have been explored a little bit more because she was kind of like Nori, I believe it was. She was Anna's kind of like guide. So I wish we would have seen more guidance. Like I wish we would have seen more conversations between just them, kind of touching on like what her goals are and navigating this world, because essentially she is on a revenge path, even though they're trying to stop her. I feel like there were two brief moments. I wish we got a little bit more of that to see. At the same time, we're also introduced to other characters, like you mentioned, Norman Reedus, and then the Chancellor, Gabriel Byrne, who's the domineering head of a cult-like army of killers. And it was interesting to see like other, I guess I'll say like sanctions, like other like different
tribes.
Groups. Yeah, tribes is a perfect word. Like other tribes in the world of John Wick. So I think that I liked that we got to see that explored, that of course, people are shooting each other in the Continental. Who are these enemies? So they kind of showed us a little bit more of like these different groups. So that I liked seeing. The cinematography of Romain Laburkis, I believe is his name, did an incredible job. It was gorgeous, as we mentioned, like the set pieces being explored. The music is one thing I have to point out. I just want to say Tyler Bates and Joel J. Richard, I believe, did it. There was a song that
Tyler has done previous films. Tyler's done Fast and Furious. Tyler's done Deadpool 2. Let me really quickly. Tyler, the one thing I like about Tyler is he has this very upbeat feel to a majority of his scores. But what I really do think he does a good job is making sure that his scores are really a part of the action. So when you talk about John Wick, they love to take these loud environments, clubs, or just whatever. And when I say loud, not just by music, but like a lot is happening from background people, lights, so you're getting that flaring effect. And then obviously, they use the environment, so the sound effects of the other things that are around. Obviously, you're gonna have some neon, you might have some smoke, you might have some rain. They use all the elements. And the thing about the score that's so cool is that like it complements it all. So you get like good fight choreography. And my last really big thing I need to make sure I emphasize, because every time we talk about fight choreography, people always think on the offense. There's a lot of defense in it as well too. Taking the blows, taking the punch back, not executing on a technique, and you're seeing it on both ends. So you have all of that, I'm saying, and then the music is complementing it on both sides. Because typically you can have a beat that's just showing you punching, boxing, whatever it may be. But like, what's the beat when a person hits the ground, but when they also get back up, and the beats is complementing the whole thing. So it's almost like the choreography is between two dance partners. And then the third is the music that's also there, that's kind of on the wall, seeing how everything's flowing. But yeah, continue. But shout out to Tyler Bates, man. He's definitely one of the elites, and I definitely think he deserves more credit.
Yeah, the music completely stood out to me on top of the cinematography, and they released a song, "The Hand That Feeds," which is a lead single on the soundtrack by Halsey, and of course, Evanescence's Froman and Amy Lee. And we're like 80s babies, 90s kids, so yeah, Amy Lee is like.
Evanescence. What year is this? They just did something for oh my God, what is it? Devil May Cry.
Devil May Cry, yes.
Yeah, and here they go again, man. What a time to be alive.
So that immediately stuck out to me. I was like, Shazam! Yeah. I was like, this is fire. And then back to like the making of this film, it was super interesting because I read that originally when they were in talks to creating some kind of spin-off, they had Chloe Grace Moretz in mind, Hit Girl from Kick-Ass.
Yeah.
She was like who they kind of wanted to form this idea around, and I was like, oh my God, I kind of would have rather have had her. But anyway, I was like super intrigued by that. It's kind of part of the inspiration. I guess this film might have been in mind for a while. But I do like that they wanted her to be a singular character, like the director, Les Weissman. He wanted it to be a little different from John Wick. And of course, like it keeps like the stylish, like world building and everything that we love in this universe. But he kind of wanted this to focus more on Eve and like her wanting to be a killer. So while Wick is literally like just dropping bodies, trying to get out of this world, Eve is like dropping bodies trying to get into this world. So I thought that was like pretty interesting, like exploring that concept.
Yeah. All right. Here's where I'm gonna wrap. Anna does a fantastic job. And I think if there was any doubts that she could carry this film, I think you will fully leave the theaters understanding that the answer is absolutely yes. She brings heart to this character. You understand the struggles, you believe the means behind her vengeance, and then sometimes I will say that gets a little muddy because it's just like, well, how far will one go in revenge? But that's truly what revenge is. How far would somebody go for it? And we see she goes to no end, even when the situation looks completely dire, even when you may have one of the most elite assassins at your door. It seems like there was nothing that was going to stop her for getting revenge for her father. So I thought Anna did a very believable job in that. And I also will say that I feel in expanding this universe even further, there's no mid-credit or post-credit scene. But if they decide they want to do more, I think I would be down for it. I think she really makes this character Eve one that when John Wick 5 come out, we're going to be asking, where is she? I don't think this is one of those characters that we're like, cool, that's done, or she did her thing, and we know she's out there. I think we might genuinely be asking, like, might she show up? In what capacity? What is she up to? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that's a testament to her work there. And then again, when you talk about like the production and everything, there's really so many good scenes. As I mentioned, the TV remote scene, just a car crash scene after the club that was just insane. The ice skating scene. Now, the last thing is the flamethrower scene. And when I talk about the production, is that they shot that overhead and it looks insane. I can't think of what video game it is, but it's a video game back in the Nintendo days where you had these two men and they moved around. They shot their guns in 3D motion, in circular motions while it was overhead, and it kind of gave you like I feel like they might have maybe even paid homage to that by how they shot it, because you had characters on the ground moving around, shooting people all around them from an overhead shot, like classic GTA, I would say. But before GTA, was there's another game that did it, but GTA, for instance, is that. But yeah, this movie Ballerina, I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. It wasn't perfect because the beginning of the film and the understanding her clan, that trope has been used 1,000 times. The Red Room, you've seen it once, you've seen it twice. So I felt nothing in it because I'm like, I've seen this before. Which is why I say Anna did a good job, because even when you establish her motives of her revenge, but how she starts to get her training, that training aspect, I didn't care. But once she actually got into the field and started to see the work, and we saw her basically have her first day on the job to ultimately to the end of the film, I was like, yeah, I'm cool with that. I can get with that. That's not bad at all. So it's almost like rooting for the underdog with her, and I'm just cool with it. But yeah, that's what I would say. Like it's a fun film. And I think you will have a good time, especially if you are one of loving martial arts, especially if you love John Wick, and especially if you're looking to see this franchise expand even further. Any closing thoughts from you?
Yeah, so I kind of want to get into like a few things that didn't work for me. I went into this thinking she's not believable. I still kind of think she's not believable in terms of fighting. I'm going to get into, I guess, a little bit on more of the production side and stunts. When it comes to woman in action, I'm a little annoyed that she was wearing earrings. She looks like she has a fresh blowout, looking fresh in every single fight. She's getting wrecked, and she still looks like she just walked out the hair salon. She had one cut, one blood spot the whole movie. I'm like, I'm sorry. I need Charlize Theron. I need Michelle Rodriguez. I need to believe that she's getting her face knocked in. Like, it wasn't believable to me in that sense of her being able to scrap with grown-ass men. She's unscathed like the entire movie.
She absolutely took an axe to the back and there was no blood.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm sorry, this is not working for me. And then she's wearing earrings when she's in the dojo scene. I'm like, when I play basketball, my coach would slap us if we have earrings on during basketball practice. You're telling me she's fighting with earrings on? And then I'm not even just talking about like the actual street fighting. I'm talking about in the dojo. She's fighting with a grown-ass man, and they're like, fight like a girl. Well, take off your earrings. Like that annoyed me. Like little things like that. As I mentioned, the impressive gunplay, the terrific like camera pans, all of that made like the crime drama worth it, and like the adrenaline-filled sequences, like, and her resourcefulness, as I mentioned before, is what makes this work for me. A lot of memorable mass beatings, but my main thing is, as I mentioned, like back to like Charlize Theron and Michelle Rodriguez, I believe that they will slap the fire out of you and that they will scrap with a man. I still don't believe that Ana de Armas can take a man out. And like I mentioned, I've had more injuries playing street ball. And like, why does she not have a broken nose? No wounds, no bruises, no swelling, no cuts, just that one little blood spot and a fresh blowout. But aside from that, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a great time. I do wish we got Halle Berry. I think that would have been a way more exciting, like cameo type thing if we saw them team up, because I still think Halle deserves her own movie. But aside from that, I thought it was a really fun time. I really enjoyed it, and it's still worthy of watching and being a part of the Wick universe.
Great points there. You also have a lot of fun with people's names. There's puns to Eve, there's puns to this character Frank you're gonna love, and Eve also has a big problem with leaving, but we don't, because that's going to be the end of our review from the world of John Wick. It's in theaters June 6th. Jump in the comments, folks. Let us know your thoughts about the film, the things you liked, the things you didn't like. How excited are you to watch it if you haven't seen it yet and somehow you wanted to check out this review? And then ultimately, are you prepared for John Wick 5, which is coming down the line at some point? I think it's going to be a lot of fun on what they do with that and all other things of John Wick. And as Naughty wears her John Wick Experience shirt, which is so cool in Las Vegas, I would check that out as well.
That was the best
all
one.
Things, it really was.
Hell
all
yeah.
things John Wick, It's a great time to love the franchise, and this is one you'll definitely have fun with. So check it out. Let us know in the comments your thoughts about it. And as always, stick around here for movies, reviews, contents, and all that other good stuff here at Big O Built Media. Thank y'all for watching, folks. We'll see y'all back soon.
I